Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by early on a Sunday again, but I need to get this done and out the way. Sunday morning chat this time is really a show report from my day out yesterday, which started off a bit silly because I had some things to do before I left and I needed to leave quite early because I said I'd help out when I got there. I set my alarm, and I've got one of those silly brains that even when asleep knows there's an alarm set. So it wakes up early before the alarm goes off. So we were up at silly o'clock yesterday morning, twiddling our thumbs, because I didn't have that much to do before I left. Anyway, a very early start, consequently an incredibly long day, but nonetheless an incredibly enjoyable day. I really do like the Wessex show, the friendliness and the chatting, and you know, people come up to you and ask about plants and stuff like that, and you have a chat with some other superb growers. Yeah, so a brilliant day out. A little disappointed when I got there because the bacon rolls and the coffee weren't up and running yet, but we made waves in that direction, and things were organised, and bacon rolls were had, coffee was organised, and once that's done, then I don't care what happens for the rest of the day. Bacon roll and coffee gets me going. Anyway, so that was the sort of start up. I changed my mind about what I was going to take, and in one case it was a good decision, and in one case it was a bad decision. And I mean a bad decision. I'll explain. You saw me chatting about my Cattleya and why I didn't take it. Right. The Cattleya section on the competition tables had one plant in it, and it wasn't a Cattleya. It was an epidendrum. And for the type of plant, it wasn't really a spectacular blooming either. That sort of plant should have had a lot more blooming spikes on it. You know, along the lines of my orange one, the Comet Valley, but this was actually the species, I believe, or a species. Anyway, so if I'd taken my Cattleya exactly as it was, without playing with it, without rearranging the blooms, probably without even cleaning the leaves, I think it would have walked that section. So that was a bad decision, wasn't it? But that's the luck of the draw with the show. I could have taken that Cattleya along, and there were a dozen other spectacular superb Cattleyas, and mine didn't get a look in. But as it happened, there was only one entry. Okay, I'm going to post the video of the competition tables first. I've split the show up into sections for video purposes. The competition tables and the Wessex Orchid Society floral display I want to keep separate to make them shorter videos, because they get used on the Wessex Orchid Society's Facebook page. So they have to be rearranged, and a fair amount of my normal video stuff gets removed, you know, like my ending and things like that, and my music at the beginning gets taken off, and the whole video gets a piece of music added to it suitable for orchids. Well, I presume it is. You get what you're given, basically. Yeah, so that'll be the first one to post, and I'm going to run a little competition. First of all, you'll see the epidendrum as I go past that section in the video, and you'll see that there was only one plant there, and you can have a think about if my nice bright orange Cattleya had gone in there, you know, would it have done okay? But then stop and think. There's a first, second and third in each section. So if I'd taken this, I think that probably would have got the first, if I'd just straightened it up a little. And the epidendrum may well have, excuse the wind, I hope the roof's going to stay on. The epidendrum may well have got second, but that would have got third if I'd taken that in with just one bloom on it. This is the thing with shows, you know, that could have got a place. That's a Cattleya. Yeah? So you take your chances with shows, and sometimes you can take a plant in that you think is a no-hoper, and it can end up being the only one there, and you get a first. As you look around that video, the little competition is, there is a type of orchid missing from the competition tables, and I have never known this happen before. So have a look at the types of plants as the video progresses along, and then at the end stop and think, what is missing? This, you know, from an orchid show, what type of plant is just missing? Because there weren't any. So the two sections, species and hybrid, had to be removed. There were no plants. The dendrobium section, last year when I took my plant, we had to rearrange the plants that were on there to get mine on the table because it was full. This year, one plant. So automatically got first. It was quite a stunning plant nonetheless, but you know, that's the sort of chances you take. Anyway, two sections, well, there were more than two sections removed. There were other sections removed as well. The Cymbidium section, Cymbidium hybrid section, that's normally taking up half a flipping table this time of year. I think there were two plants on it, one of which was Milan's plant, which is absolutely gorgeous. And again, he brought that along thinking, probably won't get anything for that. Well, it got first, no problem. And as there were only two plants, I could have taken this moth-eaten thing and got a third. You know, you see, you take your chances. If I'd taken that along, there was only one dendrobium there. Well, that would have got second, wouldn't it? Or that would have got second. You know, that could have got second with two blooms on. So you take your chances, but as I say, sometimes you get there and you try and squash your little humble plant into a section that's just crammed full with specimen stunning plants, and other times you take your plant along and put it in the middle of this huge big space and it's the only one. Anyway, we're going to have it's not an unboxing, but it's a getting out of the box session, just to as I said, it is a show report after all. But I had a great day, lots of chatting with lots of people. Let's see if I can pick this up, because it's with one hand. I just plonked this up on the table when I got home. I'll just stick it on the corner here for now while I get the stuff out. Right, first of all, at the last minute, I changed my mind and I thought, you don't get Tolumnias in shows very often. I think I'll just take that Tolumnia along, you know, so I just picked that up and plonked it in a pot to sort of stand it up. My problem with my mounts is I haven't got any decent plant stands to take to the show, because although the stand doesn't get judged, if it's a manky stand, it'll take the edge off the judging. You know, they're going to look at it and sort of think, is that it? So anyway, I took that little Tolumnia along. Let's get the pot out. And the little Tolumnia, so I can get the paperwork out, the little Tolumnia got a second. Yeah? So I was quite pleased with that. As I say, that was a last minute decision, and the decision not to take the Cattleya was wrong, fundamentally. I love maidenhair ferns, and the Thames Valley Orchid Society separate display had used these as filler plants. So as they were packing them up in the box, I said, can I have one of those? And so a suitable cheap price was agreed, and I've now got a maidenhair fern to go down with my little fern collection down here, which needs a bit of a tidy up at the moment. But so I got that. So I did buy something, and then this is part of the ongoing swapsies with Lynn Smith, the chairman. And the original plant that I was supposed to be swapping, I still haven't got. She hasn't divided it yet, she's been too busy. But hopefully I'll get that next time I see her, which will be at the Bournemouth show at the end of the month. But it's another little Dendrobium cuthbertsonii. Small plant, but nonetheless growing. And while we're on the subject, where did I put it? Have I actually thrown it out yet, or did I actually keep it? Let me just find somewhere to hang that for a minute. You can go up there just for now while I think. This one is dead. And Lynn said, don't throw it out. Just keep it cool and keep it almost dry. And she said, you may be surprised. She's had several that have dropped all their leaves and then suddenly started to grow again after a break. So I'm going to keep it. I mean, it's bone dry at the moment, but you can see there are a few roots down the right hand side there that don't look dead to me. So although the plant does, apparently it may shoot out again. So I always say never give up on a dendrobium. Well, I had given up on that, but I'll luckily it hasn't gone under the hedge, so I'll keep it. So that was that. And then the little Orangus, that was the other one I took. Now when I got there, I wasn't sure where this was supposed to go. Let me just see if I can get the box out of the way. So I asked what section the Orangus go in, and was reliably told it goes in the Vandaceous section. So that's where I put it. And I thought, oh, that's going to be brilliant, isn't it? That little pot on the table is going to get lost in all those big, long, dangly roots from all the wonderful Vandas that were there. Well, as I go round in the video and I get to this plant, have a look at all the Vandas there were in that section. And the survey said, there weren't any Vandas. Nobody took a Vanda in. Yeah? Anyway, I've forgotten to get my paperwork out. Where's my paperwork in here? So the little Orangus got the first, but there were only 2 plants on the table, and the other one was an Orangus fastuosa. It was a very young plant with 1 little spike with 2 blooms. Well, you'll see it in the video. So that took a first. I won't say it took a first because it was an absolutely stunning plant. But when there's only 2 plants on the table, you either get first or second. Simple as that. Anyway, that needs to come out of there now and get back hung up, and just straighten the hook out that we tucked behind the pot. I can just go up there for now until I get myself sorted out here. That's where it normally lives anyway. So that's everything back in its place. Yeah, so a great day was had, a very long day. It does get a bit tedious at times because you get there early, all the setting up and watching other people bring in plants in by the bucket load, and all that's great and it's busy. Then you get kicked out while the judging takes place. Well, that's a good time to have another bacon roll and a coffee, and you know, sit on the tables in the sort of canteen area. That's nice. And then at 12 o'clock it opens to the public and everybody goes back in. Some people almost run back in to see what awards they've got. Oh dear. Anyway, you have a look round and see who got what, you know, and congratulate people and stuff like that. And then you've got like 4.5 hours before you can take your plants home, because while it's open to the public you can't take down the plants, they have to stay there. That can get a bit tedious, that waiting, but you know, you fill your time up chatting to people, and people come up and ask you about. I had quite a few people picked a plant from one of the traders and then came up and asked me if it was a good one. Well, I always feel obliged to say what I really think, but the traders that are there, I know really well. I've known them for donkey's years, so I'm never going to run down one of their plants so that they don't get the sale. I'm not going to do it, you know. If people are buying plants from the traders, I'm not going to put them off. So, you know, although one person did come up with there's a variety of the Dendrobium nobile, the species, that's going around at the moment. I've seen a few turning up for sale. And but it is still the species, despite being a named variety of it. And obviously the nobile species is not as easy to get to bloom as the hybrids are. The hybrids have had the fussiness taken out. So one person who I'd been chatting to anyway came up with one of these in their hand, and I'd just been talking. She'd put it was actually a Spring Dreamer pollen. She'd put that in the novice section. And it was the only plant she got first. She was over the moon. I mean, it wasn't a brilliant plant, but it was quite nice, and it was a rescue, you know, so it you know, got first. But anyway, she came up with this one, and she said, as we've had a chat about noblies and how to look after them, should I buy this one? And I said, well, first of all, that's the species, and it is more fussy. So you know, we chatted about cooling them down a bit in the winter, give them some nice bright light and reduce the watering and feeding, they'll probably be fine. I said, but with this one, you really do need to be able to do that. So have you got a cool room somewhere with a south-facing window, you know, like an unheated bedroom or something? And her other half said, no, we haven't got anything like that. The whole house is heated. I said, well, if you don't cool this one down, it probably either will bloom poorly or not at all. It does need that proper break in the winter. So she put it back and didn't buy it. I felt ever so guilty. But, you know, if somebody asks, you don't want somebody buying a plant that they're not going to be happy with or going to struggle with, you know. So anyway, that was that. So anyway, that's my Sunday morning chat, a quick show report, and a getting out of the box session rather than unboxing session. And apart from the maidenhair fern, no, I didn't buy any orchids. I hadn't planned on buying any. But don't forget, when the competition tables video goes up, spot the missing plant. You would expect to see this in every single orchid show without fail, and there were none. Yeah, none at all. It should be easy for you to spot, quite honestly. I bet nearly every one of you's got one. Well, that's giving it away, isn't it? Yeah, just a bit of fun anyway. And the show will be divided up into separate videos. There's a good friend puts on an individual display. Quite honestly, it knocks socks off nearly all the plants in the whole building, just on that one display. That's going to be a nice video. You'll enjoy that. So that will go up as a separate video. It's a good friend, Brian Gould, and he always does an individual display. So there's that video. Then there's the competition tables, which will go up soon. I mean, that's nearly ready. That'll go up straight after this one, I expect, or during today, let's put it that way. And then the other one will be the Wessex Orchid Society's actual floral display, which it's got mainly orchids, but other plants as well. That's where the clivia was going to go. But I decided not to take that on the grounds that in the car that would have got knocked about, and the blooms are starting to fade. One has already dropped, and if I start bashing that around in the car and changing its environment and all that sort of thing, it probably would have dropped some blooms, and I'd rather have them here at the moment. So that's why that didn't go. But yeah, with hindsight, I could have taken quite a few more plants and got some sort of third, second or first with those plants because of what was there, not because they're brilliant plants. I mean, it's highly likely that with the exceptional growth on here and a reasonable blooming for the type of plant with buds to come, that could have taken the first on the dendrobium section, certainly the species section. It might have done, but it did have a lot. It would have had a lot of competition with that gorgeous. It was actually the nobile type I was on about, the variety of the nobile species, and it was quite a stunning plant. So maybe a second, you know, and then maybe a second or a third, you know, but I didn't take them. If you don't take them, you don't stand a chance. And quite honestly, the experience of taking plants to a show and making sure they look their best, it's quite good. I mean, I won't say it's exciting, because it is. Well, I don't get excited, you know me. I'm very easy and calm. But it is quite a nice experience to take your plants to a show. It's nerve-wracking the first time you do it, trust me. But I think it's worth doing. Joining in, taking part is what it's all about. Anyway, that's Sunday morning chat done, and Wessex Orchid Society spring show videos to follow. And then we'll see what we get up to next week, once next week gets here. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.